Today, we will hear from foundational Black Americans speaking on the power of delineation and how these immigrants are getting their wake-up call. Check it out.
Ma'am, you are now considered trespassing. You have been actually your card is not here. I just spoke with the manager.
Loser.
She already approached me, pushed me, touched me.
I don't have to answer you. Who the fuck are you?
Talking to her. She's
I
upset.
make more money than you ever make in a lifetime. What are you? Who are you?
The head
You're
of
a
security.
loser. You're a lowlife. You're a black loser. You think you're big money. Who the fuck are you? What do you even have it? What do you make annually?
Yo, who do you think you are?
No, who are you? Who are you? Who the fuck are you?
She's not.
He's a lowlife.
Don't worry about her. Don't worry about
What do
her.
you make annually?
70K.
You're a low, 70 annually. Oh wow, he makes a lot of money. 70K. That's what my sister makes. You're a fucking animal, loser. I'm right here.
She's back. She's still in touch.
And y'all know it's a lot that I disagree with when it comes to certain FBA rhetoric, certain shit I don't agree with. But one thing that I am more and more leaning towards as far as their rhetoric is, I'm not gonna say how can I say it without sounding crazy? I see what they be saying about y'all immigrants though, like people that's not from America and that came here from other places. Like I see what they be talking about. I literally see. At first I used to be like, oh no, y'all tripping, y'all this. But the more things go on, I be like, I see what FBA be talking about when it comes to them immigrants. I just don't like how y'all be like trying to bully people if they don't agree with something. Y'all will be like, oh, you must not be black, you must not be this. That's the type of shit I don't like about y'all. But I'm starting to see what y'all be talking about with them immigrants though, honestly.
If you want to know if you have power or not, use the word delineation. It's strong when we use it. Think about this. If Mexico or the Mexicans decided to delineate today, who the fuck care? If the Italians, if the Cubans, the Panamanians, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, any of them African countries decided to delineate from us, who would care? We'd play the world's smallest fucking violin. You know why we wouldn't care? Because we are not dependent on their identity, their ethnonym, their ethnicity, their legacy, their history of anything. We have it all already, right? So when we say that we're delineating, it is cutting off a vehicle that was used to undermine specifically us. Yeah. They wanted to undermine us. They've been undermining us. And people will come up to this panel acting like this is a new phenomenon. It's been 60 plus years of this experience, right? And it has not been a good experience. It has not been transactional. It has not led to our people moving anywhere beyond where we were in the 1960s. Okay? Have we come a long way? Yeah, but have we gone the wrong way? That is the question. The delineation movement is very powerful, my people, because it puts us in a position, a very unique position to take our people where we should have gone a long time ago. Delineation is us taking up the mantle and saying to our ancestors, we accept the responsibility. We accept this challenge. And we may lose some people along the way, but it's going to be well worth it. We're not worried about who we are losing. We're worried about what our future gains. That separates us from people fleeing their oppression under any circumstance. Okay? So don't let anybody tug on your emotional heartstrings. Don't be discouraged by being called certain names or whatever the case may be. It's not effective as the word delineation. If these indigenous people, the Semaine, the Lano, the Batek, the Aetas, okay, the Melanesians, okay, the Polynesians, if they just delineated today, will nobody even budge? Okay? If the Europeans delineated, nobody would budge. When the Europeans delineated from us here on their soil, we created our own institutions of economic and social excellence. We thrived outside of the system. When people delineate from us, we do better. When we're left to our own devices, we do Way better. That's not the same that can be said about a lot of these other places that we can investigate today. You know what I mean? So continue on with this delineation movement. It is very powerful. You've seen how powerful it is in the right hands. When we say we're delineating, it is felt. It impacts people's future. It impacts their plans to migrate or to not migrate, right? To cosplay or to not cosplay, right? Delineation is very important, my people. Keep the movement strong and keep it alive.
On the topic of Black American relationships with the immigrant community, and in this video, I'm especially calling out African immigrants. But what I have to say is that we Black Americans do not hate immigrants at all. Show me videos where you have Black Americans stating that we hate immigrants from any community. You will be hard pressed to find it. But then I want you to do a search of what immigrants, sadly including African immigrants, have publicly had to say about we Black Americans. And this has been going on for quite some time. With African immigrants, the refrain has been, we know Black, we know Black. We are Somali American, we're Haitian American, Jamaican American. We are Nigerian and from other countries on the continent, but we are not Black. Don't call us Black. And all kinds of derogatory, disparaging sentiment. Calling Black Americans slaves, calling soul food slave food, calling we Black Americans uneducated, uncultured, lazy. All the white supremacist talking points that you all have been indoctrinated with over in your home countries that you bring to the United States of America. And what is really wild is that we Black Americans are not your oppressors. Before and during the election of 2024, Black Americans, especially Black American women, I'm going to always call out the queens, tried to tell everyone, including every immigrant community, what would happen if the felon-in-chief were reelected. Hell, the felon-in-chief in the Republican Party told you all what they would do and what they were planning. They didn't hide it. But you all did not listen to us. And now it is my understanding that with the Haitians having their TPS status revoked, there are cries within the community for Black Americans to stand with them because we're all Black and we're all of a sudden, all of us are in this together. When have you all ever stood with Black Americans in our struggles? African immigrants, Latino immigrants, Muslim Arab immigrants, Asian Americans, Asian immigrants. When have your communities ever publicly issued statements of support for Black Americans and made overtures of support to our community? I don't recall it. But now all of a sudden you expect Black Americans to support you now that you're being targeted? Haitians, you all did not learn after the election from the Muslim Arab Americans in the Latino community that we are not their mules because those communities also express anti-Blackness towards us and Kamala Harris. And then when this administration does what it does and the oppressor behaves like the oppressor behaves, and ICE was dispatched to the Latino community, targeting them. And the tragedy that happened in Gaza continued. All of a sudden, those communities turned towards Black Americans. Help us, stand with us. We try to tell you. You all have never stood with us. And now you expect us to help you? It's not out of hate. It is out of self-preservation. We cannot be in community with those who do not want to be in community with us. And it is the height of arrogance for you to expect our help. when you have expressed to us how much you disrespect us and hate us and think that you are superior. No, just like you all, we Black Americans are now concerned with our community. We're done extending our hand and having that hand spat upon and stomped on. Haitians, we tried to tell you. But unfortunately, now you're being targeted. And it is not Black Americans' lesson to learn, it is yours. And this goes the same for every other immigrant community here in the United States that is suffering. We hate it, it's wrong, and it's tragic. But this is you all's bed. Because see, Black Americans, we have always been target one in this country. If any of you all had bothered to study actual American history, you would know that. We have always been the targeted group. There has never, ever been a time in the history of this nation that Black Americans were not the primary target. We know the oppressors. We know how they behave and operate. But you all did not listen to us because you thought you knew better, believing the lies that the oppressors told you about us. And now your inactions, your actions, your votes, your decisions have consequences. Again, these are your lessons to learn, not ours.
Not every Black person is African American. Ooh, controversial, right? I've done my research. I choose to call myself a Black American. One, well, I was born in America. My parents were born in America. My grandparents were born in America. That's all that I can trace back. Then it goes into Native American, European and things like that. So how are you an African American? You guys know that not all people that had brown skin or that was of African descent were slaves in America, right? Because then you would be saying that, you mean to tell me not one person from the whole continent of Africa came over to America when it's been documented that several did, and they were not slaves. They came over on their own free will, just like the Spanish did also? Did they not have boats and ships? Because history says that they did. So when people are like, oh, well, you're African American. No, I'm Black American. Once you get 3 generations out, you're no longer from that place. Your blood is now American blood. Why don't we call people that are from the UK, their ancestry maybe down the line, British Americans? Why are Black people the only one that's called African Americans? It's kind of like it's still trying to keep us separate. I'm a Black American.
Y'all see all those rainbow flags? This was in New York City, where this lady, she looked like she runs a daycare, throwing all these racial slurs towards this Black man that was just trying to do his job. She was told to leave because she was harassing a group of people at a table inside that lounge. They had to trespass her, and this is her response, just throwing racial slurs out there and insulting this man for working, doing his job. 70,000, 2 jobs. And this is how he's treated at work. It's not a white person, right? Not a white person. And no one intervened to check her. Whatever group of people she belonged to, it looked like she belongs to the daycare, those people that be running those daycares and learning centers. That look like her group. But they need to check their people because this is not acceptable. right? This is not acceptable on any level. And this is NYC. This is in New York City at a lounge. And you've seen the rainbow flags out there. The rainbow flags out there. So this is supposed to be an inclusive area.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what I think when someone asks me, when will delineation end? Almost like in a finger wagging kind of way, like, when will this delineation end? When is this delineation ending? Or when will this delineation end, brother? All of that. And if that made you uncomfortable, this content is probably not for you, so you can keep scrolling if you feel uncomfortable. But when people ask, when will delineation end? I want you to pay attention to who's asking, because that question has a built-in shelf life to it. And delineation, or self-definition and self-preservation, is really something that every other ethnic group practices, but we're the only ones being asked about a shelf life. And, when's this thing going to be wrapped up? Have you delineated? But delineation does not have a shelf life. It's an awareness. And we are beginning to wake up to what that awareness actually means, and just beginning to put into practice what it means to preserve our identity specifically as a lineage, as Black Americans indigenous to this soil, not as a broad Black or as a flat Black, not as the African or Caribbean diaspora that really has nothing to do with ours here, and not as a subcategory to the latest, greatest flat minority term, but us specifically. And when people want that to end, it's usually because our specificity is costing them something. Maybe they were riding under the umbrella of a flat Blackness, making claims that were never theirs to make. Maybe our delineation draws a line they'd rather not see, making them uncomfortable and left to lament a reality that they would rather not face. But that's not our problem. It can't be, because delineation is healthy. Here's what it actually does for us. It allows for the disaggregation of data. Data that specifically shows what's happening to us, not what's happening to some broad minority term, but to us specifically. It protects our specific claims, our historical claims that belong to this lineage and to no one else. It preserves our ethnic identity and stops ethnic erasure. It puts us on a path to a protected class status, as we should be in this country, because they have redefined us before and folded us into categories that served everyone else's interests but ours. Delineation says that ain't happening again. And once you come into this awareness as a lineage, you don't step back out of it. That's not how awareness works. You cannot unknow what you now know. So when they ask, when will delineation end? The honest answer is it doesn't. This is our lens going forward. This becomes our lens in which we see policy, in which we see data. This becomes the lens in which we see who keeps getting left out of every conversation that claims to be about us. We are a specific ethnic group here, specific to this country. We deserve specific protections, specific data, and specific recognition. And that's just the beginning, considering we built this country. So keep naming it, keep protecting it, keep moving with intention, keep letting our people know. Because an awareness this important doesn't get a shelf life. It gets a legacy. Be honest, not offended.
Beginning in the late 1990s and accelerating in the 2000s, a shift occurred. As immigration from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America increased, the term Black began to be treated as a global, interchangeable identity rather than a specific ethnic and historical lineage within the United States. Gradually, Black History Month, once rooted in the foundational Black American experience, started to be reframed as a celebration of all Black people everywhere, regardless of whether their ancestors endured American chattel slavery or Jim Crow. Black faces appeared in ads, social media posts, and product campaigns, often without meaningful investment in Black American communities. History was simplified, sanitized, and depoliticized. Radical figures were softened. Structural critiques were replaced with feel-good slogans. Now, in recent years, younger foundational Black Americans have begun to push back. We are asking necessary questions. This pushback has made some immigrants uncomfortable, even angry, because it challenges a long-standing assumption that all Black people share the same historical claim in America. But delineation is not hatred. Boundaries are not exclusion. They are clarity. Foundational Black Americans are asserting that ethnicity matters, history matters, and lineage matters. The Black American experience is not identical to that of a Nigerian immigrant, a Jamaican immigrant, or an Afro-Latino immigrant whose ancestors did not endure American slavery or Jim Crow. These are different histories with different relationships to the U.S. state, its laws, and its racial hierarchy. This delineation is not new. It is simply overdue. Had these boundaries been clearly set immediately after the Civil Rights era, many of today's conflicts could have been avoided. Instead, integration without protection led to dilution of political power, of economic redress, and of historical ownership. Programs and policies meant to address the specific harms suffered by foundational Black Americans were often broadened until they lost effectiveness. Today's younger generation is correcting that mistake. This conversation is necessary. A mature society must be able to acknowledge that different Black populations have different histories, interests, and claims. Respecting those distinctions does not divide. It prevents erasure. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.